What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. Today we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference and the top 8 seed teams. And it's a lot of things that change. Some teams have changed drastically. Some teams made trades that changed their superstars. And some teams are staying pat but having new pieces. And it's going to be a fun year in the Eastern Conference. A lot of these teams are a lot deeper, a lot better, if not a little bit better. But the Eastern Conference is no longer a walkover. It's no longer going to be the worst conference, even though it still is the worst, but it still looks a lot better than it did in previous years. And there's going to be some teams that's going to be left out that people feel like should make it. I don't have the Wizards making it because Russell Westbrook said that he's going to be in and out. He's not going to play every single game like he usually does. He's going to be in and out. And then Bradley Beal has surgery. I don't know how he's going to be. I don't know what he's going to do. And I don't know how the team is going to do without Russ not making every game. But I do have them missing, to be honest. And other than that, I got the Hawks at 8. I feel like Trae Young is one of the best offensive players in the league, if I had to be honest. He knows how to probe and keep his teammates involved. He has more shooters. He has a significantly amount of weapons now. And he has guys that can make plays a little bit too. So he doesn't have to do all the work and all the scoring like he did last year. And you get John Collins. Hopefully they can have John Collins for a longer period of time than they did last year. And if that does happen, that makes them better. Not only that, the Atlanta Hawks get Clint Capella. They traded for him. He didn't really do anything for him last year because he didn't play. Now you get him and Collins back for majority of the season, if not all of it. That should make you better. They got deeper. They got more wings. They have more guys that can do things on their own, so they don't have to rely on Trae Young to do everything. And I think that that's good enough to get them eighth. The reason why I don't have them higher is because their defense. I don't feel like they improved their defense that much this year. Even though they basically coming in with a whole new roster, the defense is important because that's why they've been struggling. They've been able to hang with teams, but they haven't been able to close and stop teams. And I don't think that changed this offseason. If anything, it just made them more competitive and give them more players that's ready to help them win now. And another thing too, they have a lot of chemistry issues. They just got a lot of these new pieces. They changed their roster so much that they're going to have rust. They're going to have chemistry problems. And like I said, they're not going to be a great defensive team. So I don't see them being more than eighth. The Pacers, I have seventh. I don't know how their coach is going to utilize this team. Oladipo still don't look like his old self. Warren doesn't look like he's ready to become that guy that can take over a game. He showed that he can do it in the bubble, but I don't know if he really wants to do it. I still do like Malcolm Brogdon as a guy that can facilitate and put pressure on the defense. I like that they're going to have Sabonis back. I think that makes them significantly better because he was a good piece of this team, and he was a guy that can really run offense through or play well off other players. And I think that's good. And they still do have Miles Turner. People might think he's the guy they need to get rid of, but he does fit this team. He does give them space and then rim protection. And that's not really replaceable, and that's why I still think that they're going to be one of the more competitive teams in the Eastern Conference, but I don't look at them as a championship contending team, but I do look at them as one of the better teams in the East, especially if they can stay healthy. The 76ers, I have finishing sixth. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are two of the best defensive players in the league, and they have shown that they can win enough games to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, especially if both of them can stay healthy. But I still do not like their fit. I think they got guys that fit more of playing off of them, and that's why I still have them being one of the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference. And I do think Doc Rivers made guys better when they are a lot of role players. They have the Seth Currys and the Tobias had his best season with Doc Rivers as his coach, and I think that that's going to be something that makes them competitive, and I think that's something that you can't really replace. And I don't look at them as an elite team in the Eastern Conference right now, but I do look at them as one of the better teams. And when they're clicking and they're defending, they could be a tough team to beat, and they always been that since they had Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And I think they're going to make it again. I think they're going to be one of the top teams in the East if they can stay healthy. Um, Fifth, I got the Raptors. I think they take a big fall. They lose Ibaka and other guys, and they replace them with guys that was worse. And I think that they have got a little exposed in the playoffs by being a smaller team that relies on Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry to do a lot. And the teams are getting bigger. They're getting more mobile and athletic at the wings, even in the Eastern Conference. And I think that's a disadvantage. The reason why I have them top five is because I feel like they're still going to be a good enough offensive team. I still think they're going to be a good enough defensive team. And I did pick them to finish pretty good last year, and they did. This year, I have them taking a bigger step back. And even in the playoffs, they showed that, Siakam is more of a third or second option than the number one option. And even though he works hard and he always improving and growing his game, he has a ceiling and he has a limit. And he might have just reached it being a 20-9, 20-8 guy or 20-10 guy. I don't really see him being a 27, 29, 30-point scorer. And if that's the case, they're just going to be a mediocre team at best. And the playoffs and the bubbles expose them for that. Number four, I have the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like they're going to have rust and chemistry problems, but they're going to be able to explode. They're going to be able to steal games. They're going to be able to take games because they have Kyrie and Kevin Durant. These are two of the most unstoppable, unguardable players. Their problem, like the Hawks, is they're going to be able to score. They're going to be able to destroy teams that's trying to defend them. But I don't look at their defense as being good enough to be elite and really slow down teams. And I think that that's going to catch them. Plus, like I said, Kevin Durant looked a little rusty. He didn't look as dominant as we are accustomed to, and that's because he's coming off a major injury, and it's going to take some time for him to continue to get that feel and that touch back. And once he does, they can start taking off, but that can actually hurt them in the beginning, which means it's going to make them lose a lot of games potentially, which means they're not going to finish that high in the Eastern Conference. So I have them fourth. The Celtics I have third. I feel like their defense is going to be there, and I feel like Tatum and Brown are going to take another step. And if Kemba does come back, he's going to put a lot of pressure by being able to score from all over the court. And he also is going to help them, be more unstoppable offensively. But I also see this team as a lot deeper than they was before, adding guys like Tristan, adding guys like Jeff Teague that gives them size, but also veterans that have won and have, made it far in the playoffs, but also knows their games and also have shown that they're willing to accept that role and they're not trying to be more than that. That just gives them more depth and more, prepared. They more prepared and they're going to be more, competitive than they was last year. The problem with them is just not being healthy from out the gate. And I think that with the injuries that they have, the Tyson, Thompson, Kimba, and those guys, that's going to help them get off to a decent start, but that can hurt them as the season, continues to go because their record might even out, but that means that they're going to have more losses in the beginning. And if that's the case, they're not going to finish within the top two because every win and every loss matters in the NBA, and that could hurt them, finishing number one or two. Number two, I got the Heat. I'm higher on the Heat this year. I feel like they played their best basketball in the bubble. I feel like they are a team. I don't feel like it's individuals that are just out here getting numbers. I feel like Jimmy Butler proved that being a 25-5 guy. Also, Gordon Dragic has, sacrificed to come off the bench and did a fantastic job at that. I feel like they had, a couple months ago, well, basically, yeah, a couple months ago, they were just in the finals, and they have basically the same team, and they was clicking at best. They healthier, they had more time off, and those guys should be ready to go, and they should be hungry. And I don't have to really say that because they was able to do that all last year and in the bubble. And I think that start and the fact that just was playing not that long ago is going to help them get off to a good start, and that should allow them to be second in the Eastern Conference by the time the season is over. So I'm higher on the Heat than other people, so I'm going with them second. And number one, I got the Bucks. I feel like they still have Mike Budenholzer, who has shown every year that he can compete with anything, making it to the playoffs basically every year his career as a head coach. They still do have Giannis, one of the best two-way players in the league. And they still do have Lopez. They still do have Middleton. They upgraded from Eric Bledsoe by getting Drew Holiday, and they still have a decent bench. Not the greatest bench, but something decent. I think they defense take a slide, but I still do see them beating up on a lot of these bad teams in the East and competing with some of the best teams in the West. And with their defense being decent and the fact that they still have Budenholzer and Giannis and Middleton, that should be enough for them to be able to win enough games to be number one. They might get off to a little rocky start, but they did that last year, and then they was able to still become the number one team in the NBA. They may not be the number one team in the NBA this year, but they should definitely be the number one team in the East. To be honest. So I'm going with the Bucks at number one for the Eastern Conference. And that's really about it. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Thanks for everybody that likes on Facebook and continues to check that out and support it. You can also buy merchandise on there. You can change the color of the hat, change the color of the shirt. Pick the logo that you want. I have those on display, and you can customize the shirt the way you want to. Also, message me and I can get it shipped out to you. You can also find exclusive merchandise on my spread shirt that will also be in the description comment section below. If you don't want to buy any merchandise, that's fine. You can just like and share this video. Liking and sharing allows the channel in these videos to reach more people. The more people that see it, the more people reach it, the more the channel can grow. Not only that, feel free to check out my older videos. I have over 2,000 videos on my channel, whether it's breakdowns of players, legends, and also rookies, and even summer league coverage and breakdowns, draft coverage, free agency, top 10 lists, even season previews and playoff predictions and discussions just like this, even about the hottest topics. All that is done, and you can check out my older videos for proof. And if you enjoy those, subscribe. Also, comment. Let me know what you guys think. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, what I got right, what I got wrong, or what you agree or disagree. Just be respectful, and I'll read all of them. Other than that, Quinn Wade, basketball analysis signing out, and I'll be back with more predictions as the season get ready to start. Other than that, I'm gone.